Hello friends, and welcome back to the Dork Side. I'm the Dork in the Road, and we are here on Dork Mountain because I want to show you all the mods I've done to my 2022 Kawasaki KLR 650 Adventure so far. This is a part 1 mods update. I'm the Dork in the Road, and I want to be your internet riding buddy, so please consider subscribing. This is my 2022 Kawasaki KLR 650. This is the adventure model. It's the fuel injection model. It's the new Gen 3. And I'm really out here today on the first actual off-road test. The road up here is a little complicated and technical. Gone through some muddy stuff, some potholes, hit some fast gravel, and rode about an hour on the highway to get to even the beginning of the woods. So it's been a great sort of across-the-board test of the KLR. And I've got a video of the off-road test, which I will link for you. It'll either come out right before or right after this one. So the link will be up here when it's ready. And if it's not there, it's just not out yet. Subscribe and you'll see it very soon. But before I took this bike out off-road, before I was willing to kind of take it up in the woods and risk dropping it, really, because that's on this technical kind of rocky stuff, it's always a danger. It's always a possibility when you ride like I do, which is to say in a mediocre fashion. There were some mods I definitely wanted to do before I brought it out, and then there's more that I'm planning to do, which I'll maybe talk about at the end of this video. But let me show you what I've done so far to kind of set this bike up to where I'm comfortable taking it off-road, knowing that I might drop it. By the way, it is absolutely gorgeous up here. The GoPro will not do it justice, but these mountains are looming large, like they're right in front of me. Three Sisters, that's Mount Washington. Three Finger Jack, and over there is Mount Jefferson. But gorgeous, gorgeous. I love it up here. But you didn't come here for views, you're here for mods. So let's take a look at the bike. We'll start at the top and work our way down. First thing I did was I moved over my Garmin and my phone mount from my Africa Twin. The new KLR 650, the 2022, comes with this very convenient bar across the top that makes it really easy to mount things. It's just a RAM mount base. I have two, and then a RAM mount. This is the 1-inch RAM mount. And then what I have is, this is the quad lock. So it's a quad lock ball mount adapter, plus the vibration dampener, which is essential, especially on a KLR. And then this is the weatherproof charging head. And there's a cable that runs down and around and into my USB port here. So this is waterproof, and I just slap my phone on there. It's really easy on and off, one hand, and it's constantly charging when I'm riding the bike. I love my quad locks. If you're not familiar with the quad lock, the other component is this case. So you have to get a case specific to your phone, but it has this mount on the back, and the quad lock is so simple to just, yeah, bam, my phone is on there, locked on. I want to take it off, take a picture, push down on the back, pop it off. It's that easy, but it's very secure. I've crashed at 20, 30 miles an hour, never lost my phone. So I have great faith in the quad lock setup. There's a little bit more expensive because there's a few pieces to buy, but the convenience and ease of use and the fact that it's charging while I'm riding all the time, I don't even have to think about it. No plugging and unplugging phones, no worrying about water getting in there, which has happened to me more than once. It's totally worth it to me, and love the quad lock setup. The other thing I'm running up here is my Garmin Zumo XT, also on a RAM mount with a regular RAM, bar mount in the back. And then this RAM mount here, so it's adjustable, and I can fit these side by side. They work well. And then moving over, I've added my DoubleTake mirrors. I love these things. Stock mirrors were fine, but the DoubleTakes, they can move and bend and adjust. You can fold them in when you're on tight stuff, if they're getting whacked around by trees, and if they hit something, either when you crash or a tree branch. I most often hit tree branches just riding through fast, and I don't see one and it'll hit it. It doesn't break your mirror or even pop it loose, really. It just kind of bends and takes the impact. And these have a lifetime warranty. So if you do break one, they just replace it for you. It's almost impossible to do, but if you do, they'll replace it. So pretty badass. Love my DoubleTake mirrors. They're like 150 bucks. It's a little bit of money for mirrors, but I've had these were the ones from the Africa Twin. I just move them from bike to bike. So you're buying mirrors one time for the rest of your life. And they're also on RAM mount balls. So RAM mounts are great and they work good for everything. The most important thing that I wanted to have before I took it off road was handguards, because when I drop a bike, and this bike has side cases, so grain of salt, but when I drop my bike, the handguards hit the ground first, literally 95% of the time. So the stock handguards that come on this are just deflectors. They don't have this bar around the outside. So I went with the Tusk D-Flex Pros. I have them on the Adventure Grom. These are the sturdiest handguards I've ever used. So sturdy, in fact, that when I try to bend them in my vise to make them fit just a little better, I pulled it out of the wall and it's screwed into the wall. So that'll tell you how sturdy they are. Way sturdier than the Acerbis and stuff that I've used, and are also less expensive. Big shout out to Rocky Mountain for sending me these for this build. Like the Tusk D-Flex Pros, and I'm gonna link everything in the description for you so you can see it, but these are my favorite sort of off-road handguards. I'll be running those on most bikes from now on. Pro tip, these are threaded bars. So the hardware that comes with the D-Flex Pros won't work. It's too long, but I just reused the bolt that was in the factory bar ends. No problem. No muss, no fuss. So they fit with a minimal adjustment, and you always have to adjust those. It has no fault on the part of the Tusks. You just always have to make a little tweak to handguards. The biggest, coolest thing that I've added, actually the warmest, is these are the Oxford, I think these are the Adventure or Touring. I will link it in the description. Grips. Heated grips. I had them on the Africa Twin and loved them. I used them way more than I ever thought I would, and so knowing that it's October and I just got this bike and I was going to be riding it a lot, one of the first things I wanted to do was heated grips. And since I was doing the bar ends and everything, I wanted to do it all at once. So I got these Oxfords and they fit, look, perfectly. I didn't have to trim this at all. It's exactly the same length as the distance between this and the end of the bar. I did use a spacer on this side because it fit, and that made it fit even cleaner. On this side, I wasn't able to use the spacer, so I did have to trim just the tiniest bit off the edge here just to make sure the throttle was moving freely, but that's literally just this lip that you see right there. That's all I took off. So these fit really well, and that was really easy to trim. So highly recommended. If you have a KLR 650, for sure a 2022, but I'm guessing the other years, these Oxford heated grips work really well, and they're really easy to install. They're not quite idiot-proof, but if I can do it, you can do it. All the connections only go one way. They have little tabs to make sure you plug them in right. All you have to do is wire it straight to the battery, and the hardest part is, one, depending on your throttle tube, getting the throttle side on. It was actually quite easy on the KLR. It was a real pain in the ass on the Africa Twin. But two, finding a place to run the battery cable that doesn't go right on your engine or your radiator, but you have cables running through there, so just find where they're going. I didn't have to take the tank off or anything. Relatively easy. Took a little time because I wanted to do it right, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and they work great, and it's pretty clean. I was able to put the controller here. It wouldn't really go. Normally you put them here like on the mount for your mirror, but the way this mirror is set up, the bracket wouldn't fit, so I just put it here. They give you a little foam sticky thing, and the cable just runs down here in the fairing. Golden. And the other thing I'm running on this bike right now is my Giant Loop Diablo tank bag. I need a tank bag because I carry all my filming gear in it. This tripod that I'm holding in my hand fits perfectly in my Giant Loop tank bags. It's like they're made for it, so I want to run one. I love the Diablo. I've run it on my DRZ. Great bag. And obviously, I'm a little biased because, you know, I also run Giant Loop's YouTube channel, but I ran and paid for and used their products long before I worked with them. Highly recommended. Anyone that's used them will tell you the same. The other things of note, these are factory accessories with the Adventure, but something you could add if you got a regular KLR. These are the fog lights. I honestly am not super keen on the fog lights. They're there. I kind of see them as extra crash protection because this will hit the ground first, and I don't really care if they get broken because I'm never going to use those damn lights, but whatever, they look kind of cool. And the Adventure comes with the side cases, which apparently these are shad cases, so they're not made by Kawasaki. That makes it feel a little better. Those are 21 liters a side. They're fine for now. I'm actually not going to run these forever. As soon as I can get pannier racks for this from one of the companies that I enjoy working with, I'm going to put my Around the Worlds back on because these just aren't big enough for me. So I'm going to sell the factory side cases. Well, then why did you get the Adventure, Dork? Great question. I wanted the crash bars and I wanted the charger plugs, and I asked them what it would cost to add those things to a regular one, and it was going to be $800. And the Adventure's only $1,000 more. So I was like, well, screw it. I'll take the rest of the stuff too for $200 more. So I got the side cases, which I'll just sell when I take them off. So it also has factory engine guards, which you can see here, and these will do a decent enough job until I want full crash bars because this fairing is big and sticks out and will break, and I want it protected. So I will swap these out when I can get full crash bars, but nobody makes them yet. The engine is dirty today. Two more things I've done to this bike, and then we are done for now. This is the Tusk folding shift lever. The factory shift lever does in fact fold, but the angle of the Tusk one is a little better. So one of the biggest complaints you hear from people when they review this bike is the shift lever is not a lot of room for your boot, and you can't move it up because it hits the engine case in there and you can't shift up anymore. Well, so I replaced it with this and I have a little bit more room. Admittedly, when I put it as high as I wanted it, I was still hitting the engine case because it's just the design up under there. But I do think the Tusk is a little better, and I'm happier with it than I was with the factory one. That's neat. It has a silver tip, is exciting. And then the piece de resistance, my favorite mod probably so far, is these IMS super stock foot pegs. I put them on everything because they're inexpensive. They're like 50, 60 bucks. They're like half the price of all the other wider foot pegs out there. The stock foot pegs on this bike suck. They're rubber about this thick. They're slippery and they're really squishy. So I replaced them with these. The pegs are still rubber mounted, so I still get some vibration dampening from underneath and then a little bit of shock absorption when you're going over bumps and stuff. But they are a massive improvement over the stock ones, and I'm pretty happy with them. So I just run those super stocks on everything. So I'm gonna link every single mod I just talked about in the description for you. You can check that out. Some of those links are gonna be affiliate links, so if you do buy something, I get a little bit of a referral bonus. You're helping feed my family, and I appreciate that. Future mods, like I said, I want to put a real skid plate on it. This one's plastic. I want real crash bars. I want to swap the pannier racks and put my Giant Loop Around the World panniers back on this. But other than that, there's not a ton that I'm gonna add to it. I'm pretty happy with it so far. New tires, I'll probably do tires eventually. These stock ones are okay. I'm actually not hating them, but I don't think I'll run them forever. They're really good on the road. They've been a little squirrely in the muddy stuff because the lugs just aren't very deep. But they're okay on the gravel, you know, and I climb this hill all right. So if you have questions about the mods I'm running or what I'm gonna do in the future on the KLR or anything like that, let me know, leave it in the comments. But that is the quick mods update so far on the KLR 650. Hopefully if you have one of your own, you got some ideas to maybe do for your own bike. But pretty happy with the setup at this moment in time, and it got me up here no problem, so that's always a good thing. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!
It's kind of gorgeous up here.